Hey, what's up, guys? It's Marsman here, and welcome to the third and final part of me talking about The Walking Dead Season 3. So, I've done an episode 1 to 8 recap. They're in two separate videos, 4 episodes each, about 20 minutes each or so. Go check that out if you haven't already watched it. It'll be a lot more useful to listen to that first and kind of get my thoughts and little opinions on that stuff and get a good, really, recap. It's a 45-minute recap, about as long as an episode would be of The Walking Dead without the commercials, of course. And I think you guys should check that out. Leave a like and comment if you enjoyed it or whatever. And I kind of am doing this for the discussion, right? It's a controversial show in the sense that there's a lot of violence and blood like that. And then there's the controversial aspect of the things that are going on, right? I've been watching The Talking Dead, which is a show that airs after The Walking Dead. It's hosted by Chris Hardwick, a very, very funny comedian. He's host of the Nerdist podcast, if you guys have heard of that. If you haven't seen The Talking Dead, I think you can catch some episodes online for sure. But I've watched every episode except for the latest one right now, because I don't want to kind of get any insight on the last episode and what's going to go on for next season as I'm talking about this. But if you guys kind of want a recap of what happened in The Talking Dead, I can talk about it. Anyways, the premise of the show is after every episode, there is this show, and they kind of recap and give hints and everything about what had happened in the episode that we just watched. And it's a pretty informative show. You get a little bit of behind the scenes, sorry, and some stuff, and you get insights and thoughts and opinions and philosophies that you may have not otherwise thought of yourself. So that's why I like watching it, because I like knowing what they think about it, what they think the motives are or whatever, in comparison to what I think and what I believe. So that's kind of why I'm doing this. I want to get your opinions on the show and kind of prove me wrong if you can, or give me an argument or anything. I'm interested in talking, right? I want to talk about this and hype it up for next season. It's going to air in February, which is a couple months away. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but it's a good break. I think we get to kind of suck in all this information that happened in the first part of season 3, and then we get the second part of season 3. So I think it's a really good way to do it, especially better than a show like Breaking Bad, where they do first part of season 5, I think, is in July of one year, and then the next part is literally 12 months after. I think a 2-month break is much better than that. And we saw in season 2, the last thing we saw during that break was unbelievable. We finally had the reveal that Sophia was a zombie and was captured this whole time. So I think they did a great job with this year, as not so much giving us kind of leaving us hanging like that. We have the fate of Merle and Daryl kind of hanging in the balance, but apart from that, I think we kind of got every kind of loose end wrapped up or whatever. But anyways, I want to talk about a couple things, a couple topics that I didn't really talk about in the episode recaps. I have said that episode 4 was probably the best hour of TV I saw. It was based on emotion and stuff like that. But I want to talk a little bit about Milton. So he's the governor's bitch, I guess. Just like Merle, but I guess that's not the fact anymore. So Milton is a scientist. And for the first time, we saw Jenner in season 1 at the CDC, and he was kind of conducting his test, but we haven't really talked about the disease in the show, right? Basically, the disease part of it that we got, it's not something like Resident Evil. It's not like where there's this virus and it's infecting and these cells, and it's not so science-y, right? Scientific? Yeah, scientific. That's the word I'm looking for. It's not as scientific. It's more of a real human. All that stuff is gone. We're surviving type show. So I really like the science aspect of it. We had Jenner where he did tests on his wife and stuff like that. And he whispered something to Rick, which we found out later in season 2 that it was everybody has this disease, this infection. When you die, you turn, not just when you're bitten. And that's something that we hadn't realized because there weren't, I guess, there weren't enough natural causes of death to really see them turn. I guess the first one we saw was actually Mr. Coleman, which in season 3, I think it was episode 7, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Coleman was a senior citizen that was going to die in Woodbury, and he, or so we think or believe, that he agreed to give his life for these tests that Milton was running on zombies. So Milton is a scientist. He is completely innocent, but the governor isn't. The governor is a corrupt individual, and he's even more corrupt and angry now that Michonne stabbed his eye out, that they were attacked by so-called terrorists. So Milton kind of does whatever the governor tells him. They hold zombies to for testing. They hold zombies for these stupid wrestling matches, or whatever you want to call it, these spectacles, circus, whatever you want to call it. And they kind of learned from Michonne's zombie pets that if you cut their arms, cut their mouths, or take out their jaw, whatever, these zombies can no longer hurt you. So it was kind of an interesting thing for Milton. And also we see the zombie heads in the governor's room. And we kind of get, in the last episode, we get this weird scene with Penny, right? The governor's zombie daughter. And he's kind of, he has this bowl of meat that we don't really, I mean, it seemed like a bowl of meat that he was going to feed Penny. And he opens her cage, whatever. He unties her straitjacket, takes the bag off her head, and she's kind of looking over to the meat, not looking at him, and he's like, Penny, look at me. And she's, you know, kind of chewing, and she really wants to eat him or the meat or whatever. And he's like, Penny, look at me. And she doesn't, so he yells, Penny, look at me, and kind of freaks out. And she doesn't. So, you know, he ties her up again, puts the mask, shoves her in the cage, and he kind of has this breakdown moment. And I think that's the whole scientific part of it. He wants to find a way to save her, right? He wants to find a way to cure that, and Milton's working on that. And that's where the whole Mr. Coleman situation comes in. The governor believes, and therefore Milton believes, that there's something in the head, these memories and reminders that are able to be activated while in the zombie state. And we get that in season 1, where I think it's Morgan, the black, the male black character with his son. Rick kind of finds them and lives with them overnight. And sure enough, they see Morgan's wife coming to the door of this house, kind of trying to get in, and maybe that's zombie memory, or is it just she could sense that they were in there, right? So I like to actually believe that there's this zombie memory thing going on, these triggers that live inside the zombies' heads, and they can remember things. But we haven't really seen it more than that. I mean, that was the most we saw of it. Now, Milton is trying this test. He does this preparation every day for Mr. Coleman, where he kind of like rings this bell. He puts music on. He surrounds Mr. Coleman with paintings and reminders. He asks them a couple questions, which Mr. Coleman can answer by just raising his right hand. Things like that. And finally, Mr. Coleman dies. Andrea is with Milton, and then they tie him down because they know he's going to turn into a zombie. And sure enough, the breathing starts again. He's turning. He's going to be a zombie. So right away, Milton's like, all right, music back on. The paintings are still there. he kind of rings his bell, or I don't know, what that device is, but and then starts asking Mr. Coleman for his questions, the same questions he always asks. Is your name Mr. Coleman? Are you married to blah blah blah? And he has some pictures and he shows them. And Mr. Coleman is struggling because he can't lift his arms; they're attached. So Milton, kind of the innocent person he is, asks Andrea to kind of detach him, and she's like, "No, we can't do that." So Milton just does it, and Mr. Coleman goes to kill him. Andrea stabs him in the head. He's dead. So I'm wondering if you guys think that Mr. Coleman actually was answering Milton or not. I want to know what you guys think about this zombie memory. If you believe that this show will have some of that, please, if you've read the comics, try to kind of spare some spoilers. But as far as this show goes, I think they've shown a couple situations where there is kind of that zombie memory. And even Penny, she's not as aggressive as some of the other zombies. So I think that there may be something there that, there is this zombie memory thing. All right, this is going to be edited funky. I had an interruption, so sorry for that. But yeah, anyways, so I just want to know what you guys think about that zombie memory. We saw it in Morgan's wife or ex-wife or whatever you want to call it when they die. We kind of saw it a little bit with Mr. Coleman. We're not sure what we saw, but the show likes to do that, right? They like to kind of show you a little bit and let your imagination kind of do the talking. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was the governor. He looks and acts like a leader that cares, but he has this other side of him where he organized this kind of mission to kill all these soldiers. The whole Andrea and Michonne thing looked like a kidnapping. The whole head in the aquariums, keeping his zombie daughter, brushing her hair. I think what's going on with him is he has this belief that zombies are people, just like Herschel did in season 2. But Herschel came to the realization that no, they're not people. They're no longer alive. They're no longer. They'll try to kill you no matter what. So you have to defend yourself. And I don't think the governor quite believes that when it comes to his family or people he cares about. But other people, just other walkers, just out in the open, he'll kill them in a split second. But when it comes to his daughter, he wants more. He wants to figure out what's going on, and he wants to heal her. And even though that there's probably not a cure out there, he's not going to let go of her. And it seems like he's feeding her. The whole deal with the head aquarium, I think he's kind of taking those body parts, and except for the heads, and I think he's feeding them to Penny. Because we kind of saw this bowl of meat, and we're not quite sure what it is. But I think that's what happens when somebody dies or whatever. I think they feed Penny to keep her alive, because otherwise, if she's not eating, as far as I know, zombie knowledge, if zombies don't eat for that long, they're definitely gonna die. We saw the zombie that had just eaten Lori, and he was full and whatever. But after a couple weeks of workout, you can slim back down to your normal weight. But no, I think the governor is confused. I think I don't want to say misunderstood, but there's definitely something with him that it's not clear what's going on in his head. There's kind of a contradiction there. But I think that eventually we're going to find out, and I hope so. But he is power hungry. He will do anything to be known as this god complex. We've seen it because he's killed, these military, these soldiers or whatever. If they had gone in and they had become suspicious because they're kind of better knowing than just these people in Woodbury, they probably would have overtaken the city, or at least the governor. But you see the governor's henchmen like Merle or whatever. They're all kind of these sick, ruthless individuals, and we've seen that side in Andrea, and I think that's why she's easily corruptible. We've seen her be a little ruthless, especially with Dale in season 2. She just, she wanted to do her own thing, and she would stop at nothing. I mean, damn, she almost killed Daryl. She sniped his ear off. So she is easily corruptible, and that's why she was an easy target for the governor. Michonne, on the other hand, was not so easily corruptible, or corrupted. She saw right through him and knew something was wrong. And I think Merle and the other guys know he's a bad dude, but they don't know to what point. We don't know if anybody else knows about Penny. Of course, someone knows about the zombie heads, probably Milton, but that's probably it. And I hope his truth gets exposed, right? But you never know. We don't know what to expect for the rest of the season. We expect that eventually they go after, the people in the prison. And now that Tyrese and his, I guess, 3 other members of the group are there, hopefully that, they're able to join Rick and the rest and kind of defend and hold the fort down, or prison down, against the governor and his crew if that happens. But it seems like the governor is looking for revenge, and it seems like he's asking his followers and the rest of Woodbury to kind of back him up. And if he brings them into battle, he is going to sacrifice a lot of lives. I know these people, they don't know the fight. They don't know how to handle themselves outside in the zombie apocalypse. And hand them a gun, they may not shoot it. Hand them, a katana or a machete or something like that, and they're not going to survive. They may kill 1 or 2 zombies and then they're going to get bitten. But I think the governor doesn't care. I think he's willing to risk the lives of these people to kind of overcome. And if 25 out of these 75 Woodbury survivors survive, then I think the governor is still gonna be in charge and lead, and he's got a way with talking to people, and he's got a way with with his speech and everything like that he can kind of manipulate and turn things his way, just like he did with Merle and Daryl being these terrorists. And but nobody knows the truth behind it. Merle does, but nobody's gonna believe Merle, right? He's been a dick to everyone from day one. But I'm hoping we kind of see the soft side of Merle now that Daryl's around and he knows he's alive. But I'm curious, what do you guys think is going to happen? I, for one, hope that Daryl and Merle get away. I think Andrea might actually make a stand and talk to Daryl. But is she going to have time to do that before the governor and the rest of Woodbury send Merle and Daryl for execution? So I hope to God that Andrea is able to talk to Daryl and turns against the governor, but there are still, I think this is a 16 episode season, so there's still 8 episodes to go. So for it to all happen that quickly, I think it's going to stretch, right? And now that there's a whole new side of the group, Rick is going to get back with Michonne, Glenn, and Maggie, and hopefully Michonne is going to talk a little bit like Andrea's in there. This is what's going on, because nobody saw Andrea except for Michonne, and Andrea didn't see anyone except for Daryl. But at least she'll know that Rick and them are alive if she gets to talk to Daryl. So let me know what you guys think about that. I'm gonna head out. I think I've kind of talked about the major things I really wanted to talk about. It's been a good season so far. A great season, actually, so far. I don't feel anything's missing. The only thing about this show, I don't know how long it's going to last. And this is just a small criticism. It's not putting down the show in any way. It's just, it seems like every time they lose some people, they find new people. And I would like to see the group survive either from losing people for more than a few episodes before they find other members. They had just lost T-Dog or whatever, and Axel and what's his name, Oscar kind of joined when they lost Lori and T-Dog and Carol and stuff like that. And now that Carol's found again, okay, we lost her and she came back, but now, Daryl may die, we lost Axel, and now we have Tyrese in this new group. So I'd kind of like to see either no one dying for a while, or if they do die, wait till next season for more characters, because it seems to be the same pattern of group, lose, gain, group, lose, gain. And yeah, I would just like to see that pattern changed up a little bit. I'm hoping they surprise us with the next 8 episodes or so and do something a little bit different. But I mean, other than that, what can you do with the zombie apocalypse show that hasn't been done already? I think they're doing it. They're making a TV show out of it and not a movie, so they're doing a really good job. And I can't wait to see the rest. It's been a great season with 2 of probably the best episodes I've seen on TV. The mid-season finale and episode 4. So here's to more of those and better of those, because I know the show has the potential to do even better than it has done, and that's saying a lot, because it's a great TV show, and it'll live on for as long as people want to watch it for. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed this, or a dislike and comment if not, and let me see those arguments, let me see those opinions and points, and talk about it in the comments, please. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye, guys.